So welcome back to this video. Welcome to my video. In this video, I'll teach you how to make a bird, flock, or flying animation using just Blender and Unity shader graph and Unity's particle system. So as you can see here in the demo, you can just make something like this, and and this is much better than using armatures and extensive use of Blender animator or just Unity animator, because it takes a lot of time and just you know I don't know about you, but I don't like to use that much of time on these things. And also they are very heavy on the GPU, and also you have to make a lot of extra systems to just make this thing work, like making an endpoint to destroy the last game object, etc, etc. So this is much better. So yeah, I'll teach you this how to make this step by step. And if you like this kind of videos, please consider subscribing to my channel and press the bell icon to never. So here we are in the Blender, and as you can see, this is the bird we are going to use. And you can just download it from the link in the description, or you can just make one if you are good in making you know blend using Blender. And so let's start by opening the vertex paint window. And as you can see, you have to put the strength to the maximum and fall off to something similar to this, or this is good, this one might be the good one. And put the color to full red. In your case, maybe it's in white region, so you have to pull it down to the red region, and just uh, just move your cursor to another. And now let's start painting on the wings. And you have to keep in mind that you have to paint only the wing region. And as you can see, I'm applying more and more strength to the wing external sides, like the part of the wing which is away from the body. And you have to keep that in mind, that you don't just over paint on the body region. You can just put some paint, but don't overdraw. And you don't have to worry about painting on the other side, because as you can see, it's mirroring on the different side, so because of this mirror modifier. And so just keep checking. If you feel like you have painted enough, then you can just leave it there. And just keep in mind that you have to paint this area the most. You have to keep the full strength and just paint this area, this region. You can put the fall off to the constant region and just paint all of it. So here, that's it. And the Blender part is, that's it. And as you can see, I have left some paint on the body, so you don't have to worry, because birds just don't move their wings, they also move their body. It's physics. So yeah, it's good. So let's just export it into an FBX file. So it's you just click on the bird, and then files, export, FBX. And you can put it anywhere in the anywhere you would like, but I am putting it in my current project. So yeah, just select the selected object and then mesh. Don't select any other things, because this might include the camera, lamp, and any other thing you might have in your assets. So just select the mesh and selected object. It will just select the current selected object, that is the bird in my case. And then just put the default settings. You can put in all local, but I recommend you to use the FVX unit scale, which will convert it into units in Unity. So and you don't have to worry about the rotation, so just put it in anything and name it bird maybe. So yeah, that's it. So let's see you in Unity. And now we are in Unity, and I'm just gonna drag it in the project folder. And here we are, and we can just close it off. And as you can see, this is the bird model we have prepared for us. And as you can see, it's very weird. So let's start with the shader first. Now let's make a folder called shaders and just put it here. And let's go to the shader graph, create shader graph and blank shader. So let's give it a name, wings, or bird wings maybe. Yeah, and just double click to open it in the shader graph editor. And as you can see, this is the shader graph editor, and I'll just maximize it. So, and quick tip, just shortcut for maximizing any window in Unity is shift space, and you can just maximize any window like scene window, and just any window you want, like console, anything. So here, yeah. And as you can see, this is very blank, and you see there is no material and no symbol. That's why it's pink. And just we can active the targets by clicking on this graph settings, graph inspector, graph settings. You can click on universal, or and I would like to make it unlit so it doesn't mess up with the light settings. You can keep it lit, but lit material can give it some shadow effects which we don't need. So yeah, and here we are, it's totally blank. You can just save it and get out of the shader graph and just put it here, and just you can just drag the bird in the scene window and make a material out of it. Just right click on the shader by selecting the shader and click right click and then material. So sorry, it's we need a material. Yes, just material. And as you can see, it just already assigns the shader with the material. So yeah, and we just rename it to bird, and yeah, and just assign the material to the game object. So yeah, and just get back to the shader graph. So let's see what we need. So we need a time graph, which is because we need the flap to be continuous. So let's use time graph and multiply it with some value to control the wing speed, flap speed. So yeah, and you can just make a property here, name it flap speed, and then make it a flap speed, and then go and connect it with the multiplier. Now what we need is we need to think, what do we need to flap it, and what's the best way to make anything go. We need a value between 1 and -1. So let's use a graph called sine graph, or sine wave. You can see it's right here. You can just type, or also shader graph trick, you can press space to search, to get the search window, and just start typing the initial, like sine. Yes, sine. There is this is called sine wave, and you can just use it and then press enter, and it will just appear. Or you can just click right and create node, just but using space is very quick. So yes, let's connect it to the sine wave here. And as you can see, it's going between black to white and again white to black. So yeah, and now what we need is our master, like the vertex paint, vertex color node. So this gives us the color value of each vertex position in the game object. So let's first split it out. So because we don't need everything, we just need the x side of the version of the x version of the object, x direction of the object. But I'll tell you there is a problem here, and as you can see, it's split into RGBA. So don't worry, R is the X, G is Y, B is the Z direction. So we don't need the other one. So we just need the G position. So we just subtract it, subtract with the time multiplication, and connect it here, and then we connect it to the sine wave. So yeah, we just have to do this. And here we are, and now we have to just multiply this, not this, the G value with the sine value. Multiply, let's search the multiply node and then connect it with this here, and just make some space here. And yeah, oh sorry, too far. Yeah, and now we need the position of the object, like the main object. So for position we can just search position, yes, position, and we need it in the object space. Don't need it in world space, it will be defaulted to the world space. And we need it in world space. So now what we need is we have to split it out again, and the split, and as I said earlier, the G version is Y, so we need to flap this flap the wing in Y direction. So we just add it to the, and we need an add node, and now uh, you'll see something happening. And yeah, it's nothing happening actually, so don't worry about it. And now what you need is the amount of flap, because it's going all the way to the negative and all the way to the positive, but we need it in the positive direction. So what you need is a flap amount property. You can just make one flap amount, and we need it in slider, so, and give it a default value of 0.8 or 0.5, you wish, whatever you like. So now multiply it with the multiplications here, and then add it to this here. So as you can see, and one more thing, because we just can't see what's happening with the bird, so you can just click on this preview window and custom mesh and just search for the bird, and as you can see, this is the bird here. And nothing's happening because we have not connected it to the main node. So we just connect it to the position node here, and yes, and nothing's still happening, and we lost the bird. Don't worry, we'll get it back. So yeah, just delete this node, and and we forget to assign the x and y, because it's just go back to the 0th position. So let's now make a vector 3 here. Vector 3 is connected to the x and its respective points actually. Don't need to connect anywhere other than this, and we just connect to the y, and g is the z. So now we connect back to the, and as you can see, the bird is flapping. Yay! As you can see, it's flapping, but it's flapping very slow because the speed is very low. And if you increase the speed, like yes, and yes, yet it is, you can see the bird is flapping, and you can just read in real time, but it's not updated yet. And you can go to the bird mesh and just go to the flap speed and just increase the flap speed. It's flapping, and you can just go back outside in the scene view and just look for yourself. And yes, here we are, the bird is flapping its wing properly, but the bird is looking very blanched, because the color is default at the shader graphs color, which is definitely gray, and gray we don't like, or maybe you like, but I don't like it. So just change the color first. So make it a property, base color, and now just assign it to the base color, and before that we can just default it to something. And yeah, and this is the base color here, and just connect it to the wings, and you can see here, and it's already looking good, I guess. And yeah, it's done. No, we're not done, because yeah, as you can see, the bird is flapping its wing properly. It's lagging because the Unity editor doesn't support flawless movement of the material in shader graph, and you can see. So let's go and make the particle system. So here we are, and as you can see, the shader graph is working correctly. So let's start with the particle system. Now let's delete with this bird, and let's start let's create a particle system here, and give it a name called bird flock. So let's start, and as you can see, it's emitting the default particles, so we don't need that. We need a mesh, our mesh, like this bird mesh, and just put it in, and it's looking very weird right now, and just because it's not assigned the correct material. So let's put the material here. Yeah, and oh sorry, my bad. And yes, now it's good, but it's, as you can see, it's looking very weird because it's not looking at the correct direction. It's in the movement direction. So let's fix it. Tick here, render alignment to view from view to velocity. So as you can see, it's looking at the correct direction now. So let's go up and put the duration to 0 0.8, zero lifetime to give it a constant of 5 to 10, start speed to 0 because we don't need any movement from the initial beginning, and then just give the particle max particle to 200. I guess that will be enough because we don't need more, so it will reduce our draw calls. And let's put the emissions rate over time to 1 because we don't need much at a single time. And as you can see, the particle is looking in the up direction. Maybe we don't need it, maybe you need, but I don't need it. I like it in the default direction. So let's give it a radius of 35 and the angle to around 15. I guess that will be enough. And let's do one thing. Let's randomize the direction and this in the sphere and in this area, and this increase the radius thickness from. And let's see here, and then the important thing, we need to move the bird, which is they don't just fly in the midair. Let's start with increasing the velocity of the lifetime over lifetime, which is 1 to, I guess, I don't know, 3 maybe. Let's increase the speed modifier to 4, and it's flying away. Yeah, you can see it's flying like a charm. Now let's give it some randomization like force over lifetime. Let's give it randomization to negative. Sorry, we don't need forward randomization, we need some upward direction, like 0 0.4 to negative 0 0.4. Oh sorry, I mean negative 0 0.4, I guess. Yeah, and just some randomization to the sideways, and yes, you can see negative 0.3 or 4. You can wish, you like, as you want to modify it. So yeah, it's looking great actually, yeah. And I guess you can just stop here if you like this style or this version, or you can do more because of bird in science. In nature, bird doesn't just always flap its wing all the time. It's sometimes they glide in the air. So if you want to make this, we can use the color over lifetime and just increase and make a gradient out of it, like keep it a good red color, and don't make it in blend, make it a fixed color, and then just give it some partial red zones. So it will just, wherever the red zone came into play, the birds will just glide on that area because there is no movement, because we have modified our shader graph to move only where the red regions are not present. So as you can see, the birds don't flap its wing when any red region came into in the color in his lifetime. And just keep it to something, anything you like. You can just randomize it any way you would wish. Yeah, and yeah, it's looking actually great. As you can see, it's randomized, so birds just flew away, or you can make more birds if your GPU can handle. But I guess it's looking great, and you can just change colors from here. This you can see. As you can see, it can be any color you can wish. And then also you can do one thing, you can just duplicate the particle system and just increase some, just tweak some velocities or something like that, like this way, and decrease one of the which, and just duplicate the material, and also change some colors here, and just put it inside this one. And as you can see, if you can just look at it, it's looking so much great. It will be just a charm for your just the birds. In bigger games, the company they don't just render a single mesh, because, and also as you can just toggle on the mesh from the selected outline region. So it's selected wire. So as you can just see, like if I just pause one, and as you can see, it's not even the whole mesh, it's just the mesh. If you add any armature or bones, it would have made so much difficult to just animate or uh, just make it flap its way and give randomization to each bird, and each bird will have to, you have to spawn it from a single position, and then you have to worry about destroying it of anything. That's so much work. I mean, this is just great. This is just so easy to make anything like that. As you can see, it's just giving, and you can just put it anywhere in the world. It will just don't take much of this memory in the RAM. So yes, that's it of the particle system. And after that, it's up to you how you want your birds to fly in the way you like. Also, it's looping, it's warm. You don't just also, you can just have fun with this thing, like this orbital area. You can just, as you can see, it's revolving around this area. I'm just making it, and as you can see, it's just rotating in the same regions. You can make some flesh, and you can use it in zombie areas and make it some zombie birds and flying over a dead body or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and yeah, if you like this video, please consider subscribing and smash the like button. And also, please check out my game Knife Dasher. Knife Fighting is now live on Google Play Store, and give your reviews. So thank you so much, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.